All right, guys, well, back, movies, music, martial arts. Today, I am joined with another special guest, my boy JC, John Calestine, JiuJitsu Coach. He's a JiuJitsu veteran, leg locker, spectacular, EBI 15 champion, all that good stuff, man. JC, happy to have you here, man. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, man, I just wanted to catch up with you, see what you're up to, see how everything's going throughout this whole, lockdown and pandemic stuff. And, I haven't seen you in a while. I think last time I saw you was at ITC when you did the leg locker seminar. Yeah, man. Welcome, man.
Well, first, thanks for having me on, man. It's good to talk again. Semi face-to-face. I know we haven't seen each other face-to-face. We've spoken briefly through messages and stuff, but this is the first time we've seen each other kind of face-to-face. This is it's cool. I'm excited to catch up and stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just been trying to, keep busy as best as you can, during a pandemic situation, especially with the kind of stuff that I do, jiu-jitsu wise and training, you know how it is.
I do know how it is. Unfortunately, I have to be careful for certain reasons, not just for myself, but for safety of close people to me. I have to play it safe for at least another year or maybe the next few months. But, excuse me, I haven't been able to really train the way I wanted to or really train at all. But, so I am a little older, so my metabolism ain't as fast as you younger guys. So I have to improvise and find ways of staying active, do some jogging, do some workouts at the park. My daughter just bought a punching bag, so we're going to start hitting the bag a little bit.
There you go.
Doing some pads just to get some cardio going and not, not gain too much weight, man. But it's been tough. I really miss training, man. I really do.
No, yeah. I mean, honestly, the first 3 months of when everything was going on, I did nothing. I pretty much isolated myself. I was just me, my girl, and her parents. I barely saw my mom. I saw her from like a window. I'd stop by the house and just drop off or pick stuff up because she lives with my grandmother. So I would stay away from them. In the first 3 months, I didn't do no training at all. And, it's just going stir crazy sitting in the house because I've been doing every day for me was just since I was 18 years old has just been get up in the morning, train jiu-jitsu, eat lunch, train jiu-jitsu, teach jiu-jitsu from 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So it was definitely a big change for me. But, after the first 3 months is when I started after the first month and a half, I started to actually do somewhat of getting in shape. I guess you could say I got super, super lazy.
You did some jiu-jitsu warm-ups?
Yeah, I was doing I bought a grappling dummy. I was grappling with my grappling. I'm not even kidding. I was grappling with a grappling dummy after a month and a half just because I was putting on so much weight. I got up to almost 170 pounds. And I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'3". I'm 145 pounds usually. And I got up to 170 pounds in the matter of a month and a half. Cause I went from, burning calories all day long training. Yeah. My eating habits stayed the same where I was just eating, putting stuff in, but I wasn't burning nothing off. So I was just sitting in the house eating like I would normally eat throughout a day. So I put on a lot of weight. And then I just started, working out in the house, kind of like what you said you're doing. I had some weights that were really old weight set that my uncle left at my grandmother's from when he was younger. So I just kind of took that out of the garage. I cleared a space in the garage. And every day I would just go to the garage and I would grapple with my grappling dummy a little bit. And I would just lift weights with this really old weight set that I had to wrap the barbell in tape because it was so old and rusty.
Oh my God.
That is, So, and that's basically how I spent the first month and a half. And then I would start inviting Chris over when he felt comfortable and just me and him would just train. Just in the backyard. I went and got some exercise mats, the extra thick ones. And I just put them down in the backyard. This was over the summer. And, just me and him would train in the backyard. And that's kind of up until I would say probably September. That's pretty much how I was training. And then in September, I started training in like smaller groups where I would train like 1 or 2 people. But, you know, it was a pain because every time in the back of my mind, I would train with somebody new, where I was in a room with somebody new, you know, you're always taking precaution and stuff like that. And I just really I wasn't going around my family or nothing like that. And like, I'm back to training like full time now. And it kind of sucks that I don't go around my family as much because of it. But I actually had caught Corona 3 weeks ago, I want to say. I got caught with it.
Okay.
But luckily I didn't get hit bad.
How did it affect you?
I just had a headache, really, a really bad headache.
And you tested positive? Like you got the test results back?
Yeah, I tested positive. I got the test results back. I took the PCR test and the rapid one, and the rapid one came back positive. And then a day later, the PCR one came back positive too. But, you know, I didn't feel too sick. But, I mean, luckily, because I knew that I was training with a lot of different people, I didn't really go around anybody that I was worried about getting sick.
Yeah.
So luckily, I got sick. Luckily, nobody else in my house caught it. And, you know, it was good. I got lucky, you know, so I'm very grateful that I got lucky and I didn't get hurt with it too bad. But, you know, at a certain point, I kind of had to go back to training so that I could compete because it is my job, and just taking precautions. And the precaution was that I had to sacrifice the past year really being around my family, which sucks. But, you know, it's I feel like we're almost at the stage where it's almost done. You know, we're almost there.
Yeah. We just got to power through it, man. You know, some people get affected worse than others. I know a couple of people that's parents got affected by it. It's different stories all around. My family down in Florida caught it, but they got through it. So yeah, man, it's, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. And,
you know, it's a weird thing. It's like, I hear people, like I knew people that got really sick that like when they came back to training, they had trouble breathing and stuff like that. Luckily, I never had any of those issues, you know? The worst thing I had was a headache for, I want to say, a couple of days and a stuffy nose. So I felt like bad cold symptoms for like, I want to say about a week, you know? But luckily I got lucky at it. It didn't hit me too bad. So I was happy about that, you know?
Yeah. Good, man. I'm happy to hear that. So we're talking, you took a few months off. When did you start like the heavy training again? Like just full rounds and, you know, consistently and stuff like that?
I mean, I want to say September, October, maybe was when I started like actually doing like consistent training. Up until that point, maybe I would train 2-3 days a week, just in the backyard, or I'd make a trip out to train with like 1 or 2 other people that were training someplace else just to get like different looks. But up until September, it was very, very inconsistent for me because I was also, every time I like train with somebody, like, or I'd hear of people training, then somebody would get Corona and then it would spread throughout all those people. And I'd be like, oh fuck, I don't want to go back to training. And then, you know, in these large groups, and then I'm going to get Corona and then I'm going to bring it home and I'll be super paranoid all the time. So it's like, but it was good though, because I got to spend a lot of time with my family over the summer. At the time that I was not training in groups and I was very isolated from people, like in that time period, I got to spend a lot of family time because everything was outdoors. I was getting tested and I was only coming in contact with Chris. And we all know Chris is a little bit of a hermit. He don't really go nowhere either.
Shout out to Chrissy P.
Shout out to Chrissy P. So it was good. So, you know, I got to spend a lot of family time and stuff like that and do a lot of things that I haven't gotten to do in a summer because I was always training. You know, I was always in the gym and stuff like that. So it was nice to get away from it, I guess, for a little bit.
Get a little break, come back in with a fresh, you know, mind and everything.
It was nice.
I know that shout out to Quinn at ITC. They were doing the park jitsu stuff during the summer. And I don't know what's going on now. It's tough right now, man, with these shutdowns. But hopefully, hopefully everybody's gym comes back. Speaking of that, I wanted to speak on that a little bit because you have the grappling club now, and it's called the Grappling Club in Brooklyn. It looks like a nice space. I would definitely like to visit. I would definitely like to visit one day.
You're always welcome. You got to come down and check it out one day.
Yeah.
It's a nice little spot in Brooklyn. It's in Flatbush, which I like. It's close to home. It's like 10, 15 minutes away from my house, which is convenient, of course, but it's got a cool vibe. It's got a very neighborhood vibe. A lot of the people that come there are from the area, so it's cool. A lot of young kids, older people, it's fun. It's cool. It's been cool lately.
I see some familiar faces in some of the posts. I see some people that used to come through the Pure Heart. When I was catching up with Aaron Aaron, he gave you a shout out. We were just reminiscing about the Pure Heart days. Everybody from Renzo Brooklyn's would stop by and train with us, and Renzo's in the city. So it was a nice mix. So I see some familiar faces stopping by there.
Yeah, there's definitely some familiar faces popping in, people strolling through that, I haven't seen in a while. Especially on the weekends. I guess that's the kind of the day that people feel more willing to make the trip. And it's been good. I get to see a lot of like old familiar faces and stuff like that. And it reminds me, the vibe over there reminds me a little bit of Pure Heart. And you remember how the vibe was over there. It was chill. Just it was probably my favorite place that I've ever taught or trained jiu-jitsu at. Shout out to Neil for making that happen.
Shout out to
Jarrell. That spot was really cool. That spot was really cool. So I've been trying to recreate some aspects of that in my spot over here in Brooklyn now, because I've been in a lot of, and you've been in a lot of gyms, so you've been in a lot of traditional martial arts gyms, and you've been in martial arts gyms that are a little bit newer, and it's like there's certain aspects of both that you're like, I like this, I don't like that, and it's like trying to take all the aspects from all the different ways that I've gotten to see martial arts gyms and stuff like that, and trying to bring them to where it is that I'm now full-time training and teaching and stuff like that. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's cool to keep the martial arts tradition, the old dojo style. You step on the mats and bow, but also keep it chill. Everybody's giving each other five. It's cool, man. Like I came from Marcelo's gym, and then I was training at Striking 101 for a little bit, and then at Pure Heart, and that's when I met you guys. I met you and Matt, and I wasn't a big fan of leg locks, to be honest. I was like, it's the easy way, you don't have to pass the guard. I was that guy, I remember. And then I started seeing like the dark side of the force, like, holy shit. Like, this is a whole new aspect of jiu-jitsu. Like, if you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, you got to know everything. And I always wonder, like, Marcelo's obviously one of the best in the world, and all respect to him, but I always wonder, like, why they were so, like, adamant about not allowing too many leg locks at their gym. Like, if you were a blue belt and under, or you had to be like a purple or brown belt or some shit to work on leg locks over there. And I never really got the gist of it. Like, I always thought you need to be advanced. You need to be a higher rank to start fucking around with leg locks. And you guys showed us how to work around that. And as more of a beginner and intermediate, I was a blue belt. I'm still a fucking blue belt, but
forever blue belt.
Forever blue belt. Yeah, eventually that's one of my goals. That's one of my goals, to get my purple belt one day. When I come back,
you gotta come back. You gotta come by.
That's definitely one of my goals. But what I'm saying is, like, I wonder why that was so frowned upon. And then you guys, you enlightened me to a different side of things with the whole leg locking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's just, some people just like to keep, like you said, it's like traditional martial arts gyms like to keep a more traditional idea of things. And from what I know about Marcelo was very big on his game and making sure that everybody was learning his game. And leg locks, I guess you could say, weren't necessarily his game, which is weird because, a big part of his game
went up against one of his guys at that, what was it?
Yeah, Gianni, at Kasai,
Kasai, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's weird that just because his game was actually built around getting to a position where you could attack a leg lock, but he opted to use it
as a sweep.
So Yeah, so I mean, it's weird, but I think it just comes down to like certain people keep a very traditional mindset, and he was, he had such a successful game, and I think he just wanted to keep with that game and not really veer too much from it.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with going for chokes, going for those
Yeah,
guillotines, going for the rear nakeds, going for those north souths that he's well known for. Like that was like my bread and butter. But there's so much more to learn. There's so many different positions. As a bigger guy, I rely on my weight and playing that top game, and so that's why I feel like I lacked in my bottom game and my guard retention and stuff like that. So that's why I want to come back and balance all that out and work on everything. Have a more well-rounded type of game. But back to you, like you're a professional jiu-jitsu competitor. You won EBI. You've won a lot of different tournaments, especially in NoGi. So how do you like take what now? You're a Daisuke black belt, right? I actually got to meet Dice. He came and taught class.
Right?
He taught class a couple of times at ITC, and I went that week.
Yeah.
He's a really chill dude, really fucking chill dude. Really nice guy. And so I got to work with him a little bit, but and he's a Renzo guy, right? So Daisuke, the lineage is Daisuke got his black belt from Renzo, and you got your black belt. So it's like right there.
It's literally right there. Like Dice
right
is a direct Renzo black belt. Like there's no middleman between him and Renzo Gracie as an instructor. It's literally Renzo, Dice, and then I got my black belt from Dice.
Yeah. So you represent more the new generation of jiu-jitsu players. How do you feel like the game has evolved from more the traditional positional stuff to like more now? It's like it's basically everything now. It's a free for all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just evolved a lot in the same ways that, like, I guess you could say you look at old MMA fights, and it's like you had a guy that was a wrestler and you had a guy that was a striker, and maybe they would square off, and maybe the wrestler would win, maybe the striker would win. Where now you look at MMA fights, and it's like guys can do everything at a high level. I think like that's kind of like the new age of jiu-jitsu. Is kind of like for a while it was in the realm of like kind of thing what was popular. Like at one point, like I remember right before I got into jiu-jitsu, right around the time I got into jiu-jitsu, deep half guard was like the thing, and everybody was playing like deep half guard and stuff like that. And like jiu-jitsu was moving in fads, like and now it's like kind of, then it was Leglocks, and now I think it's like it's going in the direction of now that people are actually very well rounded in almost everything at a high level. It's kind of turning into where people are forced to now have a game where they're able to do pretty much everything and finding ways to mix it up, in a way that they're able to develop a game that is able to maintain throughout like long periods of time. You look at somebody like Wagner, who's been around the game forever, and he was doing a lot of stuff back in the day when he was competing and fighting in the UFC. Jiu-jitsu wise, that people were doing now. So his game was kind of like, I guess you could say like ahead of his time, kind of in some ways. And I just feel like guys now are learning to put stuff together instead of being like just one track minded in how they play the game, which is interesting. It's interesting to see like the level is like evolving in terms of everybody is got a similar amount of information now. It's not like back in like 3 years ago, leg lock knowledge was very well kept, kind of, I guess you could say. Not everybody had it.
It was a secret weapon. It was a secret weapon.
Yeah, it was like, exactly. It was like a secret weapon. I was a blue belt going to tournaments, and I could, tap a black belt as a blue belt with like 2 years because I was using that secret weapon that these black belts sometimes they just didn't have the information.
They were stuck in their ways.
Yeah. So what I see is like a lot of like, it's very rare nowadays to run into a black belt that doesn't have a good idea of the whole modern game. And I think that's what you're seeing now is everybody has a good idea of the modern game, especially as a competitor, so it's interesting.
Absolutely. What are you looking towards now? Like now that you're back training full time, what tournaments or competitions are you looking at getting into?
I mean, so now that the IBJJF allows heel hooks and reaping,
Oh my
I'm definitely
God.
gonna be.
Get the fuck out. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
You didn't know that? Yeah, they're allowing reaping now and heel hooks at the brown black
Wow.
belt level. Yeah,
Oh, look at that.
yeah. So now that they're doing that, I'm definitely probably gonna jump in, try to do like NoGi Worlds and stuff like that. Maybe do a couple other IBJJF tournaments to get the feel for it, because it is very different from what it is that I'm known for, which is more sub only stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, try again for ADCC trials, and just have some one-off matches, and I guess just try to stay as busy as I can. I'm getting, I'm 26 now. When you met me, I might have been like 19, 20 years old. So I'm getting
early 20s. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it wasn't that long ago. I mean, Pure Heart was maybe
how old was I? Maybe
2015.
I might have been like 2021, maybe.
I want to say Pure Heart was around 2016, around there, 2016, 2017.
That was around the time that I think it was done. No, wasn't that around the time that it was done? Maybe, you think? Or was that 2017 that it had shut down and stuff?
Man, I lost track, bro. But I around 2015, 2016 was the.
Okay, yeah. So I was about 20 years old, I think. 2015, I think I was about 20.
It's 2021 now. It's 2021. It's crazy. Time flies.
Yeah, I know. And especially 2020 is just like, I was telling somebody the other day, we were talking, and I was like, I just watched Spider-Man Homecoming again. And I was like, they were talking about the blip and how like one day people were there, they weren't. And then another day they were back. And it's like, I keep seeing people stroll into the gym that I haven't seen in like a year. And I'm like, oh shit, you just blip back. Like, I see you.
That's going to be me. That's going to be me. I'm going to fucking blip back out of nowhere after not training for like over a year. Bro.
Yeah. But it's crazy how that, like the past year, it just flew by. Yeah. But.
Well, at least you're back now. And, I know you got your mindset on some stuff. Have you ever considered the whole MMA thing at all? Or you still want to give that some time?
I mean, like I said, I'm getting a little bit older. I'm definitely working on some striking stuff now. I'm not saying that I'm definitely going to fight because I'm not big on saying things until like there's actually like a poster, like even like the match that I have coming up on the 20th. I didn't really tell anybody because like I'm at a point now where it's like until it's official where there's like a poster or there's like an official announcement or something like that. I try not to bring things up.
Okay. Much. So you don't want to get into it yet until it's official.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely something that I'm working on right now. I started striking a lot, and I actually have Philippe Nova, who's been helping me out a lot. He's been teaching me some boxing. We've been going over a lot of boxing, specifically for MMA and stuff like that. And it's got me more intrigued in kind of stepping in that direction a little bit and just like really learning as much as I can and then seeing where it goes. I try not to put too much pressure on myself anymore, Well,
I see. I also meant like, because you mentioned the 20th. So do you have like a super fight coming up with somebody in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I do out.
But it's not official. It's not official yet.
That's actually official.
Okay.
That's official as of that's official as of yesterday. It's
tell us
a match. Yeah, it's a match, sub only, no time limit match against Zapatero against Jordan Holy.
Okay.
He's another local jiu-jitsu guy out in Texas. Very good.
What gym is he out of? What gym is he?
He trains a lot. He owns his own gym. The Holy Grail, and he also trains out of I know he trains out of the gym a Brazilian Fight Factory out in Texas in Austin.
Okay, so they're not a 10th Planet.
No.
Okay.
They're not a 10th Planet gym. He trains with guys like William Tackett, Andrew Tackett, Cody Steele, all those guys. So he trains with some very, very legit guys and stuff like that. And it's actually a rematch. I actually had a match with him back in 2017. I won that match.
Okay.
So it's a rematch.
He wants some payback.
Yeah. So it's like one of those, and I know that's one thing he definitely wants. He definitely wants to get some power. So I mean, it's interesting. It's fun. It's a sub only, no time limit. So I mean, the only way to win is by submission, and there's no time limit on it.
Oh my God.
So,
This could go for a long time. Where is it going? Where is it going down?
It's actually going down, I believe, in Florida.
Okay.
March 20th.
Oh, nice.
I was supposed to go out to Florida over the summer, but then Corona was still bad, and I was supposed to do a tournament, and then like family living situation, I was just like, you know what, it's not worth it right now.
They're doing whatever the fuck they want down there. So
yeah. So that's why at that time I was like, at that time I was like, I'm really not in the mood to go there and like ask for Corona to be brought upon me. So I was like, let me just not do it. But now,
because you're also thinking about your family, not just yourself. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I live in a household where it's not just me, so I do have to be a little bit more
just go to
precautious.
Move to Puerto Rico like Gordon and Gary and them.
Yeah. I said I should pack it up and move my whole team to DR.
Yeah, DR. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's dope, man.
I've never been to Puerto Rico. My girl's from her dad is from Puerto Rico, so she's been there before. I've never been to Puerto Rico. I've been to DR. I like DR though.
Yeah.
So that match is the 20th, sub only, no time limit. It's fun, it's my first match back in almost 2 years now. I haven't done anything in a while, between Corona and then me just needing to take a break,
Yeah.
So it's good. And it's a scary match to come back to. He's somebody that's, he's looking to make a statement and kind of solidify himself as an elite grappler. Cause he's kind of like in the position I was, before ABI, where it was like, I was really good. And I had the ability to beat a lot of really good guys, but I wasn't able to get to the platform because I wasn't able to get the high level matches. So, he's at that situation where he wants to beat me to be able to use that to elevate himself. And I need to beat him to be able to get myself back into the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting, fun match. It's, it's one of those things where, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Where is it streaming on? Where can we see it?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be free on YouTube.
Okay.
I think.
All right, dope.
I think. I'm not 100% sure. But it'll be March 20th, and all the information, if you want to find it, like I'll be putting it on my Instagram as it gets closer.
Yeah, I'll definitely share it. I'll share the poster. And
Zapatero's Instagram page, I'm sure they're going to be putting it up, the information for the stream and stuff. But it's going to be fun. It's the biggest thing I look at it like is I'm excited about it because it's something that really, really, it kind of like gets you to it's like kind of for me, it's like jumping out of a plane, like the best way I could explain it. It's like skydiving for me. So it's like I've never been skydiving, but this is the kind of situation where it's like I haven't done anything in almost 2 years. It's like I haven't been in the game, and this is somebody who's looking to use the beating me as a way to elevate himself. And it's a match that gets me like excited when I talk about it.
Do you especially what?
Oh no, especially since I know that like he's the kind of person that if he wins, he's gonna rub it in. So that's why it's like,
You guys doing a little shit talking behind the scenes?
No, I'm not. But years ago when we had that match, I remember he was talking a lot about how he was gonna leg lock me and stuff. But he's been very respectful, throughout the whole thing. So, I think he's gonna keep it very respectful this time, as opposed to last time where he was very vocal about, beating me and stuff like that. So, it's just gonna be fun,
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. I'll definitely share the poster and stuff like that. Yeah, he wants to build a name off of you, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. And, he's in that situation where it's like he needs that one more to just like give him that little bump. And then once you get that little bump, then it's like, because I'm at that tipping point where it's like I have a match, I win, it kind of puts me back in the picture. The longer I stay out, the more I kind of like go out of the picture. You know what I'm saying? It's like I could always bounce back into the picture where he's trying to put himself in the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think
it's fun? It's interesting.
Do you think there's ring rust in jiu-jitsu?
I don't think so. I mean, EBI, I'm not going to say that this is going to be every time, but EBI, I hadn't competed in almost a year when I did that tournament. I jumped in that tournament. I wasn't even really training for it. so I jumped in 24-hour notice on that.
Damn, you like John Jones. You like John Jones at this piece, not even training.
Yeah. I mean, I was training.
I know.
So
luckily
I was training. I just wasn't training to compete. I wasn't in that like process of like, working to compete and stuff like that.
Yeah, you were filling for Eddie Cummings, right?
Yeah. So it was like, I wasn't like really, in that mindset or getting ready to compete. And I think I competed pretty well because of that. Also other factors and stuff like that. But, I never really had ring rust when I took time away. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, my last performance I wasn't very happy with, and I was training consistently and just came off competing anyway. So it's like, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how I feel. I would have liked to get something in beforehand just in case there is some ring rust. But I mean, what's good is that it's a sub only no time limit match. So I don't have like to work within a time frame. So if I do feel like I need to get that anxiety out, I feel like I could kind of take my time. I don't have to go in there and try to like finish the match within the time frame because there is no time frame. I could take an hour to just get myself warmed up in the match if I really wanted to. Yeah. Not saying that he is not good, that I could take an hour to warm myself up. But I can take my time to get like really started if I need to, but I don't expect to because that's just not how I compete. I compete very aggressive and stuff like that. So you go for the offense. Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be fun.
Dope, man. I'm glad to hear that. So, do you want to get into some fight predictions? Some good fights coming up.
I was hoping you would ask me because I'm terrible at this. So let's see which ones I get.
All right, cool. So let's look up. I'll probably cut this out because I'm going to take a minute to pull up this next UFC card. We just had a card this past week. Oh, Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns.
Yes, Gilbert Burns.
That was a pretty dope fight.
I'll pull it up on my iPad too, so I have it in front of me.
Yeah, but there's a big card. There's like 3 belts on the line.
That's the that's 259, right?
259. Yeah, it's with It's with
that's
it's Adesanya versus That's gonna be crazy. Jan.
That's gonna be good. That's a good card. Yeah, that's a good card.
It's gonna be a really good fight. But Curtis Blades is fighting Derek Lewis. There's a fight night, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, is it Saturday or tomorrow? I think it's Saturday, right? Yeah, they don't. I think it's anymore. Yeah,
sometimes Saturday. They do. Sometimes they do.
Right? Yeah. That's gonna be a pretty good fight too.
What did you think of the Conor versus Poirier fight? You think Conor needs to I don't know, reinvent himself or practice his?
I was just gonna say that, I was just gonna say I don't know too much about MMA, so I would never come out and be like, oh, I think he needs to do this. But from what I saw, it seems like someone like Dustin, who's been like how I talked about before, evolving who he is as a fighter. I feel like Conor hasn't really evolved himself very much. I feel like that's where he kind of like struggled significantly, is that, I just feel like for Dustin, he was fighting the same person that he fought when he got knocked out years back. And for Conor, he was fighting a totally different fighter that evolved and developed into, what Dustin is now. So I definitely think just some evolving for Conor, and maybe a change of training partners, not necessarily camp, but looking for other sparring partners or other, training partners just to mix it up. Because I feel like also he's training with the same guys that he's been training with. And, there's a certain level of loyalty, but you can branch out in terms of who you're training with without that fear of like being disloyal to the people that got you there. The people who got you there, if they really care about you, they'll understand, you needing to branch out in certain areas, but still have that hub to come home to. I feel like people who really care about you and not just about, their own name as like a gym owner or a coach, they're okay with you branching out to get what you need in these certain areas, but to let that person know that they always have that place to come back to, So I think he needs to do something like that if he's going to stick around, for sure. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. I think he does need to branch out a little bit and get some work with some like solid Muay Thai guys and start practicing checking those leg
Yeah,
kicks. Cause that's how Dustin was chopping away at that leg,
yeah,
and you saw that slowed him down a lot,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Connor looked good in that first round. He was
He
catching
did.
Dustin with some shots, but
He did. He did. He looked very good. And I was asking, like, I was talking to Philippe about it because I was like, let me ask a fighter about like his opinion on calf kicks.
mm,
He's like, you can't take a lot of them, but he said someone's gonna break their leg one day throwing a violent calf kick at somebody, and some guy who really knows how to check those things is gonna break that dude's leg by checking that kick. So
mm,
he's like, it's a very high risk, high reward, like a high risk, high reward
mm,
technique. He told me, but it
yeah.
is a dangerous technique. But once guys start learning how to counter that
Mm,
with a really good check,
check,
you're
yeah.
gonna have like an Anderson Silva
Yeah, I was gonna
type
say, look what
Chris
happened
Weidman
to yeah.
situation.
Look what happened
Yeah.
to
So
and Chris isn't known for like a superior striker. He's known for his wrestling,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
checked that shit.
He just checked the shit out of a
Yeah,
low calf, out of a low leg kick, and that's
yeah. Well,
yeah,
speaking of Chris, one of the guys on this card is Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. So I was
yeah,
actually earlier today I was with Pampos,
yeah, yeah,
MMA fighter, and we were talking about he was shouting out Aljo.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he believes he's going to take that belt. So
yeah.
shout
I
out to
100%. Yeah,
Aljo
shout out to
and
Aljo.
Ray Longo and all those guys out there. So
Yeah,
that's a bantamweight title fight, and that's gonna be a good fight. That's
I think
definitely
that's gonna be a great fight.
yeah.
I think Aljo is gonna get that belt. Honestly, I think like I've trained with Aljamain.
Mm,
I've trained with him a bunch.
mm,
First off, super nice guy,
mm,
super talented guy, and he's probably the best uh grappler that is an active MMA fighter, UFC fighter that I've ever trained with.
mm,
And I'm not just saying that.
mm,
I'm being honest when I say like I've trained with a lot of high level
mm,
grapplers, and if
mm,
he's somebody that if he wanted to just say, "Hey, I'm not going to fight in MMA anymore, and I'm just going to compete in grappling," it would be pretty bad for a lot of grapplers because he's a high level wrestler. He's strong. He has good submission awareness and good submission attacks.
mm,
When he's on somebody's back, he's just as good as any other world class black belt because I've seen him on world class black belts' backs
mm,
and tap them or give them a really hard time. So I
mm.
think that if Aljo takes the fight into the realm where I feel like he's like probably the best in the division, I definitely think that he's going to win the fight. I think anywhere that fight goes, I honestly think that he's going to be able to win that fight. But just judging by like how I've grappled with him and know how good his grappling is, and you saw how he fought Corey Sandhagen,
Yeah,
I really do think that like in every aspect, Aljamain's going to be able to win that fight. That's just my honest opinion. And I think Peter Yan's very good, but I just think Aljamain's just at a level right now where it's just like
mm.
it's going to be very hard for him to lose that fight.
Yeah. He's just got to watch for Peter Yan's, his
Yeah,
knockout power.
I think that's literally the only thing that he needs to worry about. And like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not a MMA analyst or anything like that, but just like judging from what I've seen,
Yeah.
it's just I think that he has to worry about so much less than I think Peter Yan has to worry about, in my opinion.
I
That's
agree.
just judging from what I see.
I agree. So the next there's 3 title fights on this card.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
next
yeah,
fight is Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. I mean, the Lioness, she's back. She took a little hiatus. She started a family, and
yeah,
man, she's the GOAT. She's the female GOAT. Like she's unstoppable right now. The only person that I think could really give her, I mean, we'll get back to Megan Anderson. I don't want to make it sound like I'm, not showing her love, but
yeah,
she's had 2 close fights with Valentina, and Valentina, they were both close decisions. So I feel like there's
yeah.
a trilogy coming, but Valentina's she's at 125, and Amanda's at she's the bantamweight champ, and she's the featherweight champ. So this
The
is what
featherweight, yeah,
kind of like throws me off a little, and I mentioned this before. I feel like that women's featherweight division, it's like there's nobody in there really.
there's
They're
really
just like
nobody in there. Yeah,
they're just picking not random, but they're picking girls here and there to like, I don't know why they still have it. It's not
yeah.
really a division. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, why couldn't they make this fight at 135? It would be more like, you know, it'd be like more recognizable. Like she's defending her belt at 120,
yeah. I mean,
135.
in my honest opinion, I think it's just the double champ status sells better than, you know, the single champ status.
Yeah.
I don't know if she can make the weight to go down to Valentina, you know, for 25, 35, 25, right? That's the weight, or is it 115?
No, Valentina's at 125, but I think I could be wrong, but I think she fought Amanda at 135.
She fought her at 135, and then now she went back down to 25, right?
Yes. So Amanda doesn't have to cut down. She's just got to fight her at 135. But this fight is at featherweight at 145.
Yeah, and it's like Megan Anderson, I think, is like the first person she's going to fight that's like, I would guess you could say, judging by just her size, is like a true 145 pounder.
She's a bigger girl.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. You know, I'm not really, I mean, of course, I'm swayed towards Amanda Nunes because of her, you know, everything she's done, her body of work. Megan Anderson's had a lot of impressive fights, but, you know, you can't, you know, overlook the fact of what Amanda Nunes has done. But I mean, it's definitely interesting. I wish they would, if they're gonna do title fights at the weight class, at least have like people waiting, you know, at least have like other fights going on in that weight class, that it's like whatever happens after this, it's not like it's just like a one-off thing and then we're back to 135.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, listen, the whole reason they did 145 was for Cyborg, and she's not even in the UFC anymore. I don't know if she went to Bellator or where she went, but that was the whole reason for doing that. And she knocked Cyborg out. So, I mean, whatever. All props to Amanda, but I'm surprised. I thought this fight was at bantamweight for some reason. So
it's weird. I don't even know.
I guess we're both picking Amanda on that one. All right, so here it is. Stylebender Israel Adesanya versus John Blachowicz. Yo, Polish power, man. He's doing it. Yeah. He's knocking people out. You know, and listen, I respect Izzy a lot. He's got the illest, probably the best striking in the UFC, but
absolutely.
I don't want to sleep on Jan's power. And not only that, Izzy's moving up from 85 to 205. I don't know if he's planning on staying there. I don't know, like because John Jones went up to heavyweight and then Izzy's going to 205. I wanted them. Everybody wants them to fight.
Yeah, you know I mean that's the fight that I wanted to really see. If Izzy was going up, I wanted to see him fight John Jones.
Yeah,
it's weird that John went up to 205, but I mean, I think this fight's still interesting. I mean, it's like you said, it's like Jan has the power and Izzy's got the more crisp striking. So I mean, it's definitely interesting. This is probably the light heavyweight version of John Jones fighting Francis Ngannou, I would say. You know, it's like you got the guy who's got the power and then you got the guy who's got the super technical, you know, striking. So it's interesting. You know, you always worry about the guy who's got the power. You know, you don't know if he can get that one punch off to knock the guy who's got the good head movement and footwork, you know?
Yeah, I think John Jones, he's more well-rounded than Izzy.
Yeah.
Because he's got that wrestling, but Izzy's like leagues above striking. The thing with John is that his striking is unorthodox. He'll throw elbows, he'll throw shit from out of nowhere, and he'll keep you at that distance. But Izzy's on some next level, but he doesn't have that wrestling. So if Jones, he's got some deep wrestling defense, but if Jones takes him down and starts dropping elbows on him, it might be a wrap. So anyway, we're talking about a fight that doesn't even exist. But I'm definitely, I don't know, man. I want to pick Izzy on this one, but he's going up a whole weight class to fight a bigger dude. So I don't know, man. This might be a dangerous fight for him.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see Izzy fight, like when he was fighting Paulo Costa, like the first thing I thought about was Kelvin Gastelum was able to do a ton of damage during that fight, and he's significantly smaller. But I don't know. Anytime Izzy fights, I'm always worried. I always assume that he's going to win, but I'm always worried in the back of my mind that what if this dude is able to touch him up like Kelvin did, and now this dude's even bigger and more powerful than Kelvin is. So it's like it's interesting. It makes it more interesting. But I always I always assume that Izzy's going to win. The only time I didn't think that Izzy was going to win was when he fought Robert Whittaker, and that's just because I'm a big Robert Whittaker fan.
Look what he did to him.
Yeah, so it's like, I do think Izzy's going to take this fight, but I do think there is a risk of him getting knocked out at some point. But I do think he'll take the fight.
You're right. He did. He took a lot of shots from Gastelum. Just won his last fight. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. I think he won by decision this past weekend. So I always like Kelvin.
Yeah.
He actually came up with Uriah Hall, and I actually met Uriah. He's Neo's boy. Neo knows him.
Yeah.
He came to Pure Heart a couple of times. We did a couple grappling rounds with him.
Yeah. I trained with Uriah when he came by. I never trained with Kelvin, but when Uriah came by one time, I trained with him.
Yeah. So remember, they both did the I think it was the Ultimate Fighter season together, and Kelvin beat him, and they're like really good friends now.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I think
it's an interesting fight.
It's Kelvin is at 185 now, right?
Yeah.
He's
which I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why.
Because he was struggling to cut down to 170.
He was struggling to make 170. Yeah.
So
I mean, he even struggles to make 185. I mean,
that's not good.
He said this. He said this last one that he did. He said this was the first time, from an interview that I saw, he said that this was like one of the first times that he had everything in his diet down to a T.
Yeah.
So it was just like a very effortless weight cut.
Yeah.
But I think he's good at 185. I think if he gets his weight together, I think he would be even better at 170, just because I think he's still very good, and he's fighting guys significantly bigger than him, and he's able to knock them out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's interesting.
It is very interesting. So you're picking Izzy on this one?
I think I am picking Izzy on this one, but I do think that there's always that chance of Jan being able to knock him out if he connects. I think this fight is going to be a little bit similar to like the way Izzy's going to fight. This fight is going to be similar to the Yoel fight, except Jan is not.
I hope not, because that fight was whack.
That fight was whack, but I do think that what's not going to make it whack is that Jan is going to move forward.
Yeah.
So, but I do think Izzy's probably going to take the same approach where he's going to force Jan to be the aggressor in the fight, and then Izzy's going to be able to pick him apart. I think that's when he does best, is when he has a guy who's trying to take his head off.
Yeah.
So which is where I also I lean more towards Izzy, because if he fights somebody who's trying to take his head off is where I see he does a lot better. And I think there was a lot of in the pocket exchanges with Kelvin, and that's kind of why he was getting caught, is because it was not just him playing the counter game and Kelvin trying to take his head off, but Kelvin as well setting things up very well. So, I mean, I definitely think that this is going to go towards Izzy, but there's still that chance of a knockout, 100%.
Yeah, that fight with Izzy and Kelvin was like fight of the year candidate. I forgot what year that was. It was like 2019, maybe?
2019. Yeah. I remember because I was watching it at a hookah lounge, and I remember the fight before that was Dustin and Holloway.
Oh, man.
On the same card, which was another insane fight.
Speaking of Dustin, man, I've been following him since he started, and like his whole come up is just great, man. Like he's got a really Cinderella story,
Do you remember that that documentary Fightville, I think it was called, right, that he was in? Yeah, I remember that.
He's
that
from
was the first time New Orleans.
New Orleans, right? Yeah. So he came from that small camp, and now he's doing big things. I mean, he just beat the most famous fucking fighter out there right now. But so one thing I did want to point out, Israel Adesanya versus Blachowicz is at the UFC Apex. It's not in Fight Island. It's in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I think that's a smaller
cage.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, I think Izzy likes the range and the space. So let's see how he works around this. It's going to be a little bit of tighter space. So he's going to have to. That might. I don't know. That's interesting.
I think that really might change things.
That's really interesting.
Where was Paulo Costa and Izzy was in Fight Island, right?
I want to say that was in Fight Island, I think.
I think that one was in Fight Island.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's like you don't know how Jan's going to approach the fight. Is he just going to come forward and be like, I'm more powerful and I'm just going to try to take his head off? Or, but Jan also has a pretty good IQ, I think, with his striking. I mean, I thought Dominic Reyes was going to be able to beat Jan pretty easily because I just assumed that Jan was just a power puncher. And Dominic did so well with John that I was just like, all right, this is a technical, well-rounded dude. He's going to be able to take out the power puncher.
MMA math.
Yeah.
It never works.
Yeah, MMA math, and it never works. And then he just demolished Dominic Reyes. So I don't know. That's why this fight, I think that's another reason why they put this fight on instead of trying to push for any other fight at 185 or even trying to force John back down to 205 is because I think this fight is interesting.
It's definitely interesting, man. I can't wait. But that's on March 6th. So I think there's a couple other smaller cards, but that's the biggest card now. And then, we just had Kamaru Usman beating Gilbert Burns. They're trying to set up him and Jorge Masvidal talking shit to each other on Twitter. I was looking forward to that Leon Edwards versus Hamzat Chimaev fight, but that shit got canceled.
Did you see who they have Leon fighting now?
I saw it, but I don't. Who is he fighting?
Bilal Muhammad, I think.
Yeah. He
just fought this past weekend. Yeah.
Okay. So they're trying to do one of the. Yo, it's like that guy can't catch. He can't catch a break, Leon Edwards, man. Like every time he's got to fight, he's like,
Especially with the whole COVID thing, but it's interesting. I'm curious to see. Honestly, I haven't followed much of Leon's career, too much.
He's pretty good. The whole thing is that
he's good.
He caught that 3-piece in the soda, and everybody's hating on him now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the first time I've seen anything of Leon Edwards. Up until that point, I didn't really follow his career. I didn't really watch any of his fights. But I watched. I mean, he's good. I mean, you see some of the guys that he's beaten. I really wanted to see the Hazmat fight. I think like everybody else, because you just want to see how does Hazmat do with somebody that is that good.
Yeah.
But I guess we're gonna have to wait for that one a little bit.
We're gonna have to wait for that one, but hopefully, Usman and Masvidal get down, or who else?
Yeah.
Somebody else was in that title picture. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Is there anybody left at 170 besides Colby, really? And I kind of don't want to see that rematch yet.
Me either. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want to see. I want to see Jorge with a full camp.
Yeah.
And see what he could do. You know what I mean? He's out of ATT, so he's got solid wrestling defense.
Oh yeah.
But
he did very well in the grappling exchanges with Damian Maia. Like he had Damian on his back, got him off his back. Like he was able to get back up off the cage.
Yeah.
Not that Damian's the same level of wrestling as Kamaru, but I mean, you watch the fight, and it's not like he was controlled on the ground like from bell to bell. It's like he got taken down, got beat up a little bit, but he kept getting back up to his feet. So I'm curious to see like full camp. He's known for his cardio. Like I'm curious to see like if he's able to maintain his cardio and be able to still use his power and his footwork. I'm curious to see how he does. I think the rematch will be more interesting to see than the short notice fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. But here's the biggest fight of the year. Who do you pick? Logan Paul or Ben Askren?
Like I'm going for Ben. Only because
he's been working on his boxing.
Yeah, he's been working on his boxing. I'm going for Ben only because if someone like Logan Paul beats a legitimate world championship level fighter, you're never going to get rid of Logan Paul.
I know, for real. I mean, listen, Ben Askren's not known for his hands, but he's still a professional fighter.
Wait, is it Logan or Jake? Is it Logan or Jake?
I think it's the smaller one, the Jake.
Smaller one. Jake, okay, yeah.
Logan is trying to fight Mayweather.
Yeah.
I think.
You know what though? I don't mind Logan because I actually think his videos, like the stuff that he used to put on Vine and stuff like that, I thought he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Jake, I've never been a fan of.
You see how they're trash talking with your boy Dylan Dennis?
Yeah, I know.
They got him in the mix.
They got Dylan in the mix.
They got Dylan in the mix.
But nobody really wants to see Dylan, I think, fight Jake. I'd like to see Dylan have some more MMA fights.
Yeah.
I hope that Ben Askren is able to use years of fighting to be able to pull together enough boxing to be able to beat a kid who's only been training boxing for maybe the past 2-3 years, I want to say.
Yeah. And they're
So
doing exhibition matches. You know,
yeah,
that's what I said.
It's only 8 rounds, right? It's only 8 rounds. I think the rounds are like 3 minutes long, so it's not even or less. I'm not even sure.
And it's not even against professional boxers. Like boxing is in a whole other game, bro. Like, you know, like you can't just call yourself a boxer and you know having fucking these exhibition matches against other inexperienced boxers.
Yeah, like MMA is MMA, boxing is boxing. It's like they're two different things.
It's two different things, and I hate people that compare the two. It's two different things.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely. I respect each sport, and MMA fighters implement boxing into their game. So
yeah, but they're not solely boxers. Like when I was doing I was doing some like stand up stuff with like Felipe, and we were just moving around lightly, and he was doing more of a boxing approach. And it's like stuff that I'm more of somebody who watches like MMA. I've watched boxing matches, but I've never really studied boxing. I've always watched MMA since I was younger. And it's like certain things he's doing. It's like I could see where a boxer would beat up somebody who's just a purely MMA fighter with MMA striking, because it's literally a whole different world, you know? So it's interesting. I really hope that Ben Askren is able to throw at least 1 or 2 clean punches throughout the entire fight, but we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully he uses a lot of dirty boxing.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of dirty boxing, clinch work, heavy on him, make Jake tired, and then be able to actually, you know, beat him up a little bit. I think that if he tries to like straight up box with Jake, like in a pocket or at distance, I think he's probably going to get beat up really badly. But I think if he dirty boxes with him, leans on him, you know, makes Jake like hold up his weight and shit like that, I think definitely Ben should be able to win a boxing match against a guy who's not a professional boxer.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, man.
Yeah,
man. Well, JC, it's been a pleasure, man. I am happy to have caught up with you, and I'm definitely, you know, hopefully when this shit settles down a little bit more, I definitely want to go visit the gym and get some rounds in with you guys, man. You know you're
always welcome, man. Of course.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you for having me on, man.
Any shout outs? Anybody you want to shout out?
Just a shout out, you know, to anybody looking to train some jiu-jitsu or something like that, to get into the sport, whether it's for a hobby, competition, whatever it is. You could find me at my Instagram, John_Calestine. You can find me at my gym, the Grappling Club Flatbush. You could find me at Henzo Brooklyn in Williamsburg, as well at the RGFA page. You know, anybody interested in just picking up jiu-jitsu, like I said, as a hobby to get in shape, self-defense, whatever it is. You know, and that's really it.
And and you're learning from a high-level black belt that's been in the trenches with other high-level black belts and beat them. So there you go. Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, brother. Let's do it again, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah, so, for sure.
To you guys listening, please like and subscribe, follow. I'll be putting your Instagram's handle on the video, JC. And thanks, guys. Tune in and show some love, share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one, guys. All right?
Yep.
Peace.